Hey guys, this is Dixie Flipper. Long time no see. It has been a whirlwind, to be quite honest. The reason why I'm starting this back up is there's been a major life change in my life. On there, I've written it down, so I've gotten told that I say a lot, so I'm going to try my best not to do that. So I've written it down to kind of keep my mind and my thoughts on par. So 2 weeks ago, roughly, maybe 3 weeks ago, I was up in Ogden. My foster daughter had she has club feet, and so we were going to Shriners up there in Salt Lake to do casting for her, so that could be corrected on there. While I was up there, I was visiting my mom in Ogden as well. The guy grew up there. We went out to dinner, and was eating, and get a phone call from my boss's boss. You know, I need to I need to come into the office down in Salt Lake or in St. George for a meeting. I'm like, well, you sure know I have time off. I'm up in Ogden. There's no way I can make it in Salt Lake or in St. George today. We have a visit our meeting in the office, and they're like, okay, well, jump on this Zoom conference instead. Okay, and they're like, can you do it now? Like, all right, well, I already ate my dinner. Just talking. I'm like, oh, hold on, guys. I got a quick Zoom conference meeting with work. I'll be right back. So I go out to the car, sorry. And got in, logged in, waiting. And all of a sudden, guys I've never met, which isn't abnormal. I work for a bigger company, so I don't know everyone there. Got in and told me good morning and who he was. Apparently, he was from HR. Most of you kind of know the direction this is going to probably go. Sorry. So we talked, and he informed me that my job had been eliminated due to corporate restructuring. Within 5 minutes, my job that I've worked there for 5 years, been an excellent employee, been there on time, did my work, no real complaints other than I didn't get a raise for 5 years, disappeared. Well, yeah, they were nice as much as they could be. They gave me a small, what do you call it? Not a stipend, a small payout, which barely recovered my mortgage. Yeah. Okay, we were sitting in a car full of a parking lot, people going in, and realize that your entire financial future is now going to drastically change because a company that you worked for 5 years, that you believed in their mission, that you believed in what they preach, and that when you got hired on, that we're all about our employees, and we're all about the work-life balance, and we're all about making sure that we give our employees the best chance. And that, in my opinion, is a lie. Straight up, I think it's a lie. Because when it comes down to either keeping your employees that you have employed or restructuring, which later found out to be meaning they just laid off the entire customer care department and handed it to a third-party company in Mexico, which we've worked with before, and quite honestly haven't had the really best experience on the customer care side of things, which we kept on telling them about. Yeah, they handed that all over to them, and probably in the eyes saying this will cost us less money. Yeah, I don't know. I feel sorry for the current customers of the company that I got laid off. I'm not going to tell you who it is. Those that know me probably can connect the dots. I don't play that way. They're going to fail or succeed on their own merits. And for the sake of the people that I know that work there, that are friends, I hope they succeed. But I don't have much hope for them. So sitting there, I thought, well, what can I do? I can go out and get another job. St. George isn't a desert of jobs, but I was a remote agent. I was working from home, and those are pretty hard to find nowadays. And so meant going back into the office most likely, and picking my phone and talking to people. And I know I was in customer care, and I worked hard for it. I worked in that industry for at least 6 to 7 years, and I knew where I was actually on the phone. Where I knew I just didn't want to talk to customers. Not my customers. I don't mind talking to eBay customers. And let them know, yeah, do they get annoying? Yeah, they can be a pain in the ass, sorry to say. They're my customers. They're not someone else's, and I really didn't want to do that. But that's going to be pretty hard to find here in St. George, a remote agent at home, not talking to customers and doing the back end work like I was doing towards the end of my career with this company. So I thought, wait, I have this eBay business I've been working on the side. I enjoy it. I'm going to take and decide my own financial future now. I'm going to put the hard work in, and I'm going to build this up. Now, for short term, there are a couple things that have to happen. I know I have to have money, and my eBay business isn't making enough to completely cover my income or what I need. So I have started working. I've been an Amazon Flex driver off and on, just some side cashier. I've been trying to pick up they call it a block run every day. That brings about $50 to $70 every time I do that, 3 hours. I'm also going to be doing Sparks as well. That is like the Walmart delivery. If you're a Walmart Plus customer and you call for a delivery, I might be the guy here in St. George. And that can give me some fast cash right now to cover bills right now. So that's part of the plan. The other plan, is strategy. How am I going to do it? On my main account, been an everything seller for the longest time, ever since I started. More and more, I have seen people go from the everything seller and seen the benefits of going to a niche down store. One of the benefits is shipping. Your shipping cost, because roughly everything is roughly the same size. Your packing, you don't have to stock 10 or 5 boxes or different sizes or bubble mailers and decide. So shipping is going to be easier. And inventory. Here in St. George, there is not a whole lot of high priced. Sure, you can run onto them and that, but most of the time it's not high priced. What we do have is a lot of retired people, and not trying to be morbid, but a lot of people that die, And the most common thing that you see at any yard sale, estate sale, anyone that's trying to get a big lot of things getting rid of, DVDs, CDs, cassettes, vinyl, LPs. Those are all things that you can find in abundance down here. And so that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to slowly start to niche down my store from an everything store down to a physical media store. I'm going to price reasonably low. I figured if I price everything no lower than $4, I'll make a buck or two. And if I'm buying right, which most of the time my cost to buy is roughly between 10 to 25 cents an item, that should work just fine, on there. So that's what I'm going to do. I just pulled up my Reseller Genie just to kind of give you some numbers. Last month, remember, this is only about 2 weeks into doing it full time. My income I brought in last month in May would be $1,423.22. Now that's what I brought in. That's my income. My expenses ran a little high at $951.41. I've had to buy a couple things to get things going. So my profit for last month was $471.81. So 33% profit out of that. Now I do have 2 other eBay stores. I do have Dixie Post, which specializes already in postcards. And I've been working on getting those processed and getting them on. And then I have Dixie Cards, which specializes in cards and non-sports, unsports cards. I've been trying to do as well. So those numbers, sorry, I don't know what's going on there. Those numbers reflect all 3 stores. Also, I'm not going to cross list anymore. I was listening to Josh from Listing Ain't Easy, Josh Galt, and brought up an interesting point. Apparently, when you list something like on eBay, and Google picks it up and puts it on, it is a possibility that if you take that same listing and put it on Mercari, don't change anything, just same wording and everything, Google will pick that up and see that there's 2 listings exactly the same on 2 different platforms, and then downgrade it, meaning you're not popping up in that Google search at the top anymore. You're down the list on there. So I made a decision to shut down my Mercari, Poshmark stores, as well as my Whatnot store and my Dibdit store as well. Nothing against the guys like Trust Your Cash. I think Dibdit is a great option. But right now I need to focus on one store, which would be my eBay store, my one platform on that to get things going. And then I can venture off once things are up and running and where they need to be. To the point where I'm not need to do Amazon Flex or Sparks. So that's all 3 stores on there. I can give you a hint. I'm actually pretty proud. In 2 weeks, I brought my store 90 days total, which I know isn't really a strong indicator, but it is an indicator for me, and I have to see it from like $4,500 to $6,000, $4,100, or sorry, $6,000 within those 2 weeks. So I almost brought up $2,500 in sales, which I like on that part. So that's great. All right, what else I was going to talk about? So yeah, so my strategy is going to be full time. I'm going to work try to do a 40-hour work week. Of course, I have kids that need to go to therapy appointments, doctor's appointments, doctor practice, whatever. They have stuff that they have to do. I'm going to work on keeping that 30-day or 40-day work week on there. I'm doing some inventory changes, which I'll show you now. So give me one moment. Flip the camera and flip it around. Okay, you're back. All right, so I know it's a mess, so pardon the mess. So here's my desk, and that. Now you see these tubs, these white tubs, they're gonna go away. I'm going to show you why I'm going to do it. Here's my pile of DVDs and CDs in here that I am working through slowly. VHS is right here. So what I'm doing is I'm putting them into these cardboard boxes. Now they're not very deep, and I didn't realize it, so I have a couple inches back here on most of them that I was wasted space. Once I get everything switched over, I'm taking them from these tubs. I'm taking the ones I want to keep, delisting them, either putting them in a DVD pile, CD pile, and putting them on the VH pile. And then I'll relist them with List Easier, you know, and that. Things that I don't want, that tub right there is going to be donated back to the Desert Industries, which is here in town. So these will be going away. But yeah, so they'll go right here. That's part of it. Here's my postcards I have to get done. So postcards right here, comics right here. These tubs I have to go through and get rid of as well. My magazine right here, which I'm keeping these in tubs because I don't have really a good space to put them. And then here's a full shelf of it right there. Now you can see each thing is individually numbered. So that's my SKU. So if I sell Super Bowl, whatever, champion DVD, you know, this goes away. Well, what happens is I don't replace put another DVD with that same SKU. It's kind of like a clothing model where I pull out, send it off, and then once a month I go and I move everything up towards the beginning. So right now the beginning is right here, which is right here where that DVD or CD number 1 is, and I'll push everything through. So soon you might have 1, 5, 6 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because 2, 3, 4, and 5 sold. This is my next stack of tubs that will be going away. Now some things I'm going to keep and relist anyways. Let me hold on. There you go. Hey guys, so some things I'm going to go ahead and relist anyways that are larger, that can't fit in those tray things. Those I will be putting, some of the tubs as a large item tub, and marking them as that as well. So there are a couple things that will be happening in this journey of mine, and I'm going to be documenting it through a blog, or a blog, yeah. Sorry on that. So it won't be, all right, let me get you back where you were so I can talk without fear of having things fall on me. Okay. So I'm going to try and blog this every day. It might not be as long. I know this is going on probably for a good 20 minutes. It won't be this long because this, of course, had a story to it. But I want to show you my progress, and it might not be every day. I'm going to aim for every day, but if I miss a day, I miss a day. One moment. So, sorry, I did that again. So I would appreciate your support. I would appreciate your criticism. Now, not criticism to be mean, but criticism to help me improve would be awesome. But this is the path I'm going to take. If you if you can leave a comment, hit the like button, subscribe. That'd be great. If not, I understand. Check on it back, and you might see some things later on, maybe a sourcing trip or something like that. So you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you again for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye.